mention in a future video about the difficulty of leaving an MLM, would like to know more about that, and that's what this video is going to be about. Before I get started, I'm going to be speaking from my experience, my observations. There's a lot of similarities between what multi-level marketing participants have when we leave multi-level marketing. By no means is it standard or concrete. There's going to be generalizations that I'm saying, and it's important for me to say this because I know people that leave multi-level marketing, like I did, when you're in a cult, there's very touchy and prickly, and we still have that black and white thinking. Like, you didn't get that detail right. You're almost feeling like you're a hater for not saying it the way I want you to describe my experience. And if you're feeling that watching anti-MLM content, I want you to know that it's normal. It's part of leaving these things, and it takes time and it will fade. And each time, it happens, you're going to be aware of it. You'll be like, oh, I'm doing that thing. Like, why am I being so judgmental? Why is this bothering me so much? So it is normal. And the second thing that I want to mention is that this is really important, because one of the things that conspires to keep people in multi-level marketing so long is that what happens outside of multi-level marketing. And that is the denial that all MLMs are frauds and all MLMs are cults. Until those two things are understood and just accepted, it's going to be difficult for people to avoid getting recruited into another MLM after another MLM after another MLM, or just staying in because they believe that the only way to fail is to quit. And that sentence alone can keep someone in for a lifetime. And there will be some people that are in for a lifetime. There will be people that go from one MLM to another, constantly thinking that the network marketing industry is a beautiful industry, all the things that we hear. But what we can do is spread awareness and reduce the number of people that happens to. It's so important for people outside of multi-level marketing to challenge their own biases, to take a critical look at what they think they know, because many people sound an awful lot like people in multi-level marketing defending multi-level marketing. So for example, people saying that MLM is a cult, saying, no, you don't understand it. I buy my essential oils from my neighbor down the street, and she seems really happy. She just signed up for the discount. She doesn't recruit people at all. It's like, she just signed up for the discount. Why would you say that? Where did you hear that? Where have we heard that before? People use the same excuses and reasoning that is found in MLM without realizing it. And that's how dangerous these criminal organizations are. The last thing I want to say before I try to tackle this topic is that it is not my opinion that MLM is fraud. It's a fact. MLM is fraud. All MLMs. It doesn't matter what multi-level marketing company you are in. It is an undisputable fact that it is fraud. The terms MLM, pyramid scheme, and fraud are interchangeable. We might as well put the word cult in there as well. Multi-level marketing companies are cults. Multi-level marketing companies are frauds. And there's no sense dancing around playing this game, pretending that there is a difference between multi-level marketing and pyramid schemes, which is what, if you write to your member of parliament in Canada, they might send you back a definition of the distinction between the two. Therein lies the problem, because there is no difference, and we all know it. And it's time to start calling this out, challenging it head on. MLM is fraud. It's simple math. So the difficulty in leaving an MLM, for me, I've spoken about, it's taken me a year and a half of questioning, of waking up. That's how I just described the whole process. I didn't understand that 99% of people have to lose for less than a fraction of a percent to succeed, that it's set up for failure until the very end. It was more like a death by 1,000 cuts. And I had to be personally hurt by things that happened to me within multi-level marketing. So what's commonly, conveyed in anti-MLM content is you'll see statistics and facts, which are very important. But those aren't the things that actually woke me up and got me out. It was being personally hurt and screwed over and being forced to start seeing these contradictions. It was the logic, the facts that came at the end. That was the maraschino cherry on the top of the sundae that finally got me out and made me send in my resignation letter to Mon8 because I couldn't stay in that company any longer. Whereas just a few months prior, I realized I'm anti-MLM. I'm going to get out. I'm watching anti-MLM content. I understand, but I still didn't yet understand why people would resign early. Like I would think, well, why wouldn't they just let their, for me, I was a market partner. That's like the independent business owner of Amway equivalent. Why can't they just let their status lapse and then just not renew it? And then in December 2021, I understood why. Suddenly it came all in a rush. I wanted out. For me, that was, I had to, because ethically I didn't want anything. I didn't want any penny coming to me from that company, from anybody, any customer that I brought in, any person I'd recruited. I wanted out. To me, it was like blood money. It was that revolting. I wanted as far away as fast as possible from that. And that final realization came quite quickly, but right at the very end. So I wanted to just kind of like set it up with that. So when I talk about like the difficulty leaving, it's just starting to realize what you've been a part of. I was in multi-level marketing for 5 years, and it was the last year and a half where things they had to hurt me enough where I would be, lied to, I would be betrayed, I would have things stolen from me, I'd be targeted on social media, have content made about me. These things, it had to hurt. I had to my paycheck, my income had to suffer. These things had to hurt me enough where I couldn't look away anymore. Whereas before, when I was in early days in multi-level marketing, these contradictions would happen. I would, we'd be getting trained from my upline from Mon8 at the top. And then we'd be told, you can't use this training anymore. And we never told you to use this training. You'd be like, yes, you did. You told us how to do that. And now you're denying it. What's this? Well, it doesn't sit right with me, but you know what? I've just got to work on my mindset. And there's always bad actors in multi-level marketing. I'm going to make this business a success anyway. That stuff started to fall away. And in that final year and a half, I started to not make excuses and start to look for answers, so to speak. Now, as I began, my dad passed away in May 2021. A couple months prior to that, I stopped doing live videos every day, which was another big piece of just stepping away from social media. It was because I'd watched The Social Dilemma and I thought, I'm being controlled. I could see how I was being controlled. So, a number of these big events happening in my life all added to me starting to realize I couldn't be a part of this anymore because it's a scam and it's hurting people. And I was recruiting people into this cult. But even in May 2021, when my dad passed away, I still had my business page and I was still making posts about the Intense Repair shampoo and conditioner and the Intense Repair treatment spray. And thank goodness that I was with Mon8, because in 3 months' time, I knew there was probably a good chance that I was going to be suffering hair loss because of the stress of losing my dad. And I also posted that in my team group, my customer group, my VIP cafe group. And at the same time I was doing this, I was looking at anti-MLM Reddit. And I was reading posts from people showing that how can someone be so sick and disturbed to post about the death of a loved one and try to sell their product. And I thought, my God, that's what I'm doing, but I don't understand why that's wrong. I didn't see what I was doing. Many of us don't see our behavior when we're in it. I wanted to understand it. I can see that people are upset at these other multi-level marketing participants using the death of a loved one to sell a product or recruit them into their business opportunity. But I couldn't see why. I didn't understand why. And I kept looking at the posts over and over again. And I'm like, I know I should feel something here, but I don't. This is how dangerous these things are. You know why people don't speak out about these things? Because who wants to admit that? Who is going to be believed? People say, surely to God, you knew what you were doing. And I didn't. Mid-40s. I was so easily manipulated. I was so easily duped. I was played like a violin, like a puppet, easy. So much so that even when my dad passed away, I was posting on my business page, my Mon8 independent market partner business page, because it had become such a part of my identity. It was December 2021. I woke up and I got out and I began speaking out right away. So that happened in a relatively short period of time, from the end of May 2021 to December 2021. Overcoming what we are taught, and that we don't even see our behavior as deceptive, as unethical. We really see a different reality. We see something like, you could have two, you can have a mug and you can have a hairbrush. And I see a hairbrush. And you're like, Julie, you're drinking out of a mug. You're not drinking out of a hairbrush. And I wouldn't it. It wouldn't be like I'm just being stubborn or argumentative, purposely being, no, you don't understand, you're a hater. I actually see a hairbrush. And that's what I hope that more and more people understand, is that this, yes, there are people that are in multi-level marketing that know exactly what they're doing. They know that it's a fraud. They know it's a cult, and they use it to their benefit. They want to make more money. Some people enjoy hurting others. It's really messed up. But many of us are like me. We see a different reality, and it takes time to realize, what the fuck? This wasn't a hairbrush at all. This was a mug. And then how do you explain to someone? You're like, no, I have so much shame. I can't even believe I did this, without realizing it. How could I have been so easily fooled? How could I have then, for years, taught people, blindly repeating what I was taught, recruit them and encourage them to emulate my behavior? Oh yes, you should post about the death of a loved one too. All the customers in my community, how many people in a small town do you sign up? They don't understand the import of, multi-level marketing. Many people don't. Some do. But they see you behaving in this way. There's this piece alone can help tie you in, because it's too much to face what we've done when we've been in MLM and we didn't even know it. Of course, looking back now, it's like, I can't even believe it. I'm so blown away. How could I have been so fucking dumb? I would never behave that way. I didn't behave that way before. Then for this brief interlude, 5 years of my life, another person, it got its hooks into me. And it gets its hooks into so many other people too. So all this is happening at the same time. I've got these events that are enough of an impact in me to get me not only questioning my behavior, but actively looking outside at haters, at people who don't like MLM, to find out what is going on. I'm reading every comment, like on Anti-MLM Reddit, and I'm like trying to figure out, but what do they mean? And slowly things are starting to make sense. And then I watch Lula Rich. And then at the same time, it's about September 2021, I virtually attend Monations. And there was this huge religious push. And for me, that was the point where I knew I couldn't be a part of Mon8 anymore. I couldn't try to sign anybody up, sponsor somebody in, like recruit them. And I couldn't have anybody as a customer. I'm like, I don't want to bring anybody into this, because this is dangerous. This isn't who I am. There's this weird Christian recruitment, baptism stuff going on. I'm like, I'm out. And I believe at that time, they were launching in Australia. And my experience from being in multi-level marketing, your timelines can get screwed up. So please let me know if that was the correct thing, like where this happened. But to my recollection, they were going to be launching in Australia. And I had been compiling a list for years, since 2017. May 2017, that I was going to, reach out to all my contacts in Australia. I know a lot of people in Australia, and I'm like, I got this. I can't wait till they open up on Australia. I'm going to be a founder, all this stuff, right? And then September 2021, I'm like, I can't do this. I still wasn't like fully ready to get out. I was still thinking, I'll just let my Mon 8 market partner status lapse. But I'm like, no, this religious thing is weird. And then it was like it might have been before that. After that, I watched Lula Rich. And, when Roberta Blevins said this is a cult, I was like, oh my God, I didn't fully understand, what a cult is, how this could be a cult. I'd had people over the years tell me about NXIVM, and I just dismissed it. The same way as years ago, I'd watched Betting on Zero. It was like I was watching Star Wars. I didn't see any correlation between Herbalife and Mon 8. It was like about something totally different. That's what it's like in my mind anyway. It was so vastly different. Of course, watching it now after I'd left, looking at it now, it's like, oh, you see all these similarities. It didn't reach me because the conditioning I experienced was so intense, and I accepted it. And then I actively worked to keep myself believing it. If anything I would question, that was anytime an idea would come up thinking this doesn't sound right, I would downplay it. I would squash it because that would be indicative of me sabotaging myself. I'm sabotaging my success. Are you a millionaire yet? Are you multi-millionaire yet? No? Well, then stop thinking and do as I say. Put yourself in the room with like other people that you want to be like. You become like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You're not spending time with multimillionaires? Well, then stop spending time with those friends and family. The process of actually leaving, when I had, after Monations, I had a conversation with my upline, who was a good friend. And I don't know if that friendship will ever come back. And I had been watching anti-MLM content, after Monations, and trying to figure out what, I was listening to Life After MLM podcast as well. And I was talking with my upline, and what anti-MLM said would happen, it did happen. I was prepared. It didn't surprise me. It was the weirdest feeling of preparedness. I don't know how to describe it, but when the switch came, when I said, this is it, I'm speaking out, I can't be a part of this, it was like a light switch went off in her snapped back into this cult personality, 180 degrees. It was just the weirdest thing, but I'd seen enough examples of this behavior happening that I'm like, okay. So it wasn't sad or disappointing. It was just like this acceptance. It's like looking into the eyes of the fraud, seeing your abuser for who they are. And you're just seeing reality. You're finally seeing it. No excuses, no downplaying it. It's just like, oh, this is it. This is what it is. I need to get out, Those kind of examples and terminology work for you. Trying to find different ways to explain this. Even so, September, October, I'm watching more anti-MLM content, and I'm figuring out how to exit. I still wanted to leave quietly. I wanted to take anti-MLM content creators' advice of taking time off, 2 years off, things like that. It didn't work out. I should have gotten into therapy right away. That's one thing that I would change, but for me, it was a necessary step for me, I believe. And it was necessary for me to, my healing journey, for me to speak out right away. But it took me time to get to this point where I'm like, I'm finally done. I still didn't really understand how multi-level marketing companies were scams, what this extreme money transfer from the bottom to the top meant. I'd still have doubt, and I'd describe it as I don't feel sure in my body. And that feeling lasted even after, like, I had figured it out mostly. I'm like, I'm never going to be a part of this. I'll never support it. I'll never, ever be in one of these again. But I'm still like, I don't really understand why it's a fraud. That kind of feeling lingered for months afterwards. And it was still very much present in those last few months before I finally left. All of these things, you know, these stages of waking up or then eventually leaving can easily be delayed and not looked at and stretched out even longer to stay in MLM. So then it was the process of how I'm going to disengage from these different Facebook groups. And I had my customer group, I had my team group, that like these are the ones that I ran. I had my business page. I started deleting content off my business page. I deleted the post about the intense repair treatment shampoo and conditioner and the treatment spray. And then I ended up just deleting the whole page. I deleted all my YouTube videos that I had with Monate because I was making a live video, at least one every single day for 3.5 years straight. And a lot of those, this sounds like I was broke and $1 million in debt, sleeping on my buddy's couch. It's part of my anti-MLM story now. I just deleted all of them. It was a lot of work deleting all this content. I started to delete videos from my Facebook, my personal Facebook. And then I made an announcement in my team group. I said, I'm not going to be selling Monate anymore. And I had given a reason, because once you start to see these contradictions, and it's not just about the scam itself, because you're in a scam, all kinds of unethical behavior is going on. Like, it's just a rat's nest of shit all the time. And you start to see it. You know, that's what it was like. I start to see all this shit. And then at the very end, it's like, aha, this is a pyramid scheme. I'm out. Monate had terminated my mom's market partner account because my mom, like a lot of moms, sign up to help their daughters out with ranking up, right? And she loved the products too. And, you know, it was just being helpful. And she'd let it lapse. She'd forgotten about it because my dad had died. So she had written this letter to Monate, and the response that she got back was so indifferent and cold and really weird. Like, this was before AI got its grip on multi-level marketing. It was like, well, you know, it's too bad that he died, kind of thing. Like, well, and then have a great day, have a cheerful day. It was just something so weird. And so that was like yet another thing that I thought, this is so horrible. And I used that. I'm like, this is just what happened with my mom and Monate. I am no longer going to be a part of this. And, you know, I wish you all well. And I'm going to be deleting this group, you know. And then everybody, you know, the market partners that I had underneath me, they were like, you know, good for you, Julie. Thank you so much. Like, it was kind at first, right? And eventually, like, I deleted that group. And then I was posting in the VIP group, and I had, you know, my other market partners could post in there too. And I had a lot of material in there. So many videos, like, of how to open the shampoo bottle. Yes, because Monate, everything is always so complicated, multi-level marketing. The best way to apply your conditioner, this particular mask, the order to use it in, and this secret hack that can save you, you know, another 25% when this special flash sale rolls around every Black Friday. Like, all this information, and took so many, like, years of work. And it was a good resource for customers to look at. You could kind of like add somebody to the group, tag them, and then they'd be a part of this community. And I posted, I'm not going to be in this group anymore. And I was speaking with one of my market partners, and she was like, she woke up at the same time I did. We're talking. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm so sorry I brought you into this. And she's like, no, I get it. I'm getting out. She actually told me, she says, I can't be an admin of this group anymore. I need to leave this group. And then I realized, I'm like, I gotta shut this group down too. And because one of my other market partners, she just started posting in the group again, like, this is how you can grow your hair, and this is the business opportunity. And I thought, I can't have this group and leave Monate and let it stand. Like, I need to just I need to delete it. And so I did. And that was still before I actually left. Like, I made my first piece of anti-MLM content December the 13th, I think, 2021. It was on TikTok, and I had sent my resignation letter in, and I think I finally got heard back from Monate in January. They were Like, you're done, you're out. We're so sorry to see you go, that kind of thing. I was finally legitimately out into like January 2022. So I know that it's kind of like I'm telling this story of the things that personally happened to me, but I believe that you can read between the lines and the various instances that people can experience in these different multi-level marketing companies that all act as snags, like Velcro. It's just as soon as you move in one place, like you're stuck on another place. And it's like this, you actively have to keep like ripping yourself off in order just to get out, to just even see anti-MLM content. And then never mind even seeing anti-MLM content, which is just reality. It's just the truth, saying this isn't right, you shouldn't be doing this, still not seeing it, not comprehending it. And then there was the broken relationships that happened in the process of just before I actually left, which only exacerbated when I began speaking out. And the most brutal harassment came from the people who were in the two cults I was part of, both Rank Makers and Money. And I've spoken about this before. It's one of the, I use the word fuck a lot as a fire hose, like a flamethrower, it chases a lot of people away, especially in multi-level marketing and especially in Rank Makers and Money. But a lot of holier than thou, they want to appear to be Christian, and it's just something that's, that's just such horrible behavior. I can't associate with you. And I'm like, good, I want you to get the fuck away. It's not for you. It was like a defensive mechanism. And I still get it, if you can believe it. I'm 49 years old and I have these grown men lecturing me how to speak. I use the word fuck too much. How the fuck do you think that works out? I hope this helps somebody out there. Like so many anti-MLM posts and comments and content help me. I hope that this video will just add to that. People who have a friend or a loved one in multi-level marketing, I don't know what your exact situation is, and maybe the relationship is fractured and it's broken and it's not coming back. I'm not suggesting that you have to heal a relationship if it's unhealthy, if it's dangerous. Of course not. What I'm talking about, again, is my experience. Please be there for your friends or your loved ones, your family members. They can come back. They can be there years later. Don't give up on them. You see it and they don't yet, just like I didn't see it. And it can be as obvious. It can be right in your face, but I'm telling you, I was seeing a different reality. I did not see this mug. I saw a hairbrush until I finally realized, oh my God, it's been a mug all along. And you just think about that cascade of awareness, Please don't give up on them. They're there. You've seen glimpses of them. That cult identity is there, but it doesn't ever take them over completely. They're always still in there. They might be buried. There's ways to ignite that spark. And just being there for them when you can, having boundaries, saying no, not encouraging them. But if you can, even if when they start to question or whatever, if you're just there, they know that you're there. Even if you see, they see you like a post or something like that, as the years go by, they're still in there. Please don't give up on them. I'm glad people didn't give up on me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.